Sarah Coleman spent her last $50 from her salary to buy books for her 8-year-old student Marcus. When she saw the child's mother Diane at school pickup and learned her identity, her world was shaken. Because Diane Morrison was one of the city's most powerful businesswomen. The corridors of Pine Valley Elementary were filled with children's voices as usual, but Sarah Coleman's third-grade classroom was in a different kind of silence. 29-year-old Sarah sat at her desk, grading student papers while simultaneously doing calculations in her head. She had paid this month's rent and the electricity bill. She needed to get through 2 weeks with the remaining $50. A teacher's salary was never enough, but Sarah didn't do this job for the money. Her eyes drifted to Marcus Williams in the corner of the classroom. 8 years old, quiet, introverted child. He always wore the same worn clothes. His homework notebook was old, and sometimes even his pencil didn't work. But there was a sparkle in Marcus's eyes, a hunger for learning. "Marcus," Sarah said gently, "would you stay with me during recess?" The child looked up, gazing at her with worried eyes. "Did I do something wrong, Miss Coleman?" "No, sweetheart, I just want to talk with you." When the recess bell rang, the other children ran outside, but Marcus stayed. "Marcus," Sarah said, approaching him, "do you like reading?" The child's face lit up. "I love it, but there are no books at home. I can only borrow from the library." Sarah's heart ached. "What kind of books do you like?" "Adventure books, and science books too." "I really want to read about space." Sarah formed a plan in her mind. That evening, Sarah went to the local bookstore, Books and More. She browsed the children's book section, trying to choose perfect books for Marcus. The Space Explorer, Space Adventure, Charlie's Adventures, Friendship Story, The Magic of Science, Science Book for Children. The 3 books totaled $45. Sarah took out her last $50 from her wallet. "Are these books a gift?" asked the cashier. "Yes," Sarah said with a smile, "for someone very special." When she got home, there was only some bread and cheese in the refrigerator. But Sarah was happy. She imagined Marcus's face. The next day, Sarah wrapped the books in beautiful gift paper. The note she wrote said, "Dear Marcus, these books are for your curious mind. Read, dream, grow. Always supporting you, Miss Coleman." When Marcus saw the books, his eyes opened wide. These are for me?" "Yes, Marcus. You're a very smart child, and these books will help you." Marcus pressed the books to his chest. "Thank you, Miss Coleman. No one has ever given me something like this before." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You deserve it, Marcus." That day, Marcus didn't go outside for any recess. He constantly flipped through his book's pages, looked at pictures, and spelled out words. When school dismissal time came, Sarah walked her students to the door as usual. She saw the woman waiting for Marcus, about 35 years old, simply dressed, tired-looking. "This is Diane Williams, Marcus's mother," Sarah thought. "A very hard-working woman. I think she does cleaning work." Sarah approached. "Mrs. Williams? I'm Sarah Coleman, Marcus's teacher." Diane looked up. She had large brown eyes, just like Marcus. "Oh, hello, Miss Coleman. Marcus always talks about you." "Marcus is a wonderful child, very smart and curious." Diane smiled, but there was sadness in her smile. "Thank you. Marcus, come, honey." Marcus ran over, still holding his books. "Mom, look! Miss Coleman bought me books." Diane's face changed, first surprise, then shame. "Miss Coleman, you shouldn't have done this." "Nonsense. Marcus deserves it. He's a special child." Diane averted her eyes. We don't think we owe you anything." "You don't owe anything. This is my gift." In the following days, Sarah noticed strangeness in Diane's behavior. When the woman came to pick up Marcus, she always left in a hurry, avoiding conversation with Sarah. One day, Sarah didn't see Marcus's mother at school dismissal. Instead, a well-dressed middle-aged man came. "Excuse me, I'm here to pick up Marcus Williams." "Who are you?" Sarah asked. "I'm Robert, the family's driver." Sarah was surprised. It seemed strange for a poor family to have a driver. "Where is Mrs. Williams?" "At work. Very busy." When Marcus got in the car, Sarah looked carefully. Wasn't this a luxury sedan? That weekend, while Sarah was shopping at the market, she saw Marcus. But this time he looked very different. Expensive sneakers, new clothes, the latest tablet in his hand. Marcus, is that you? The child froze. Miss Coleman, these clothes, they're very nice. Marcus seemed uncomfortable. Mom bought them. Then Diane appeared, but she too was very different. Stylish clothes, makeup, expensive bag. Oh, Miss Coleman. Diane seemed panicked. Mrs. Williams, you look very nice. I, we, we're visiting family. But Sarah had noticed Diane's expensive watch and jewelry. On Monday, Sarah was determined. She would talk to Diane. When Diane came, Sarah approached. Mrs. Williams, can we talk? I'm in a hurry. Please, just a few minutes. Diane hesitated, then agreed. Mrs. Williams, I saw you at the market over the weekend, and I noticed that... What did you notice? You're not poor, are you? Diane's face paled. There was a long silence. Miss Coleman, Who are you, really? Diane took a deep breath. She took her ID card from her wallet and gave it to Sarah. When Sarah looked at the card, she couldn't believe what she read. Diane Morrison, Chief Executive Officer, Morrison Industries. Morrison Industries, one of the city's largest technology companies. You're a CEO? Diane nodded. But why? Why did you act poor? Diane looked away. Because I wanted Marcus to have real friends. If they knew we had money, they wouldn't treat him genuinely. And you wanted to test his teacher. No, Diane quickly replied. Maybe I thought that at first, but I watched you. I saw how you treated Marcus. When I learned you bought those books, Diane's eyes filled with tears. I learned you spent your last money. The store clerk told me. This woman spent every penny for this child, he said. Sarah was shocked. That's when I realized you're a real teacher. You don't do this job for money, but for love. Miss Coleman, I'm so ashamed. I lied to you. Why did you do this? Diane sat down. Since Marcus's father died, it's been very difficult to find people he can trust. Everyone's behavior changes when they know about our money. Sarah began to understand. I wanted Marcus to be seen as a normal child, but you loved him even when you didn't know he had money. I love Marcus because he's a wonderful child. Whether he has money or not doesn't matter to me. I know. That's why I'm confessing to you. Diane took out her checkbook from her purse. I want to pay you back for those books and... Sarah raised her hand. No. But Miss Coleman, those books were a gift, and I bought them for Marcus, not for money. Diane looked at Sarah with amazement. But you're struggling financially. That money was very important to you. Yes, it was important, but Marcus's smile was more important. Diane began to cry. I was so unfair to you. I lied to you, tested you. Mrs. Morrison, Diane, you're a worried mother. You want to protect your child. I understand that. But still, Sarah put her hand on Diane's shoulder. Do you know how lucky Marcus is? He has a mother who loves him so much. I confused him. I made him lie. You taught him real friendship, and you showed me that love isn't measured by money. Miss Coleman, Diane said, I have an offer for you. I'm listening. Morrison Industries wants to donate to the school. Library, computer lab, art supplies. Sarah thought, that's a very generous offer. And would you be our education consultant? What do you mean? Would you manage our company's child education projects? Of course, if you want to. Sarah was surprised. This is a big responsibility. And a very good salary, too. You can continue teaching, but at the same time have a broader impact. That evening, Diane told Marcus the truth. Mom, so we're really rich. Yes, sweetheart, but this doesn't change you. You're still the same Marcus. Did we lie to Miss Coleman? Diane hung her head. Yes, and that was wrong, Marcus thought. She spent her last money to buy me books. Would she have done that if she knew? What do you think? She would have because she really loves me. Diane hugged her son. Yes, that's why Miss Coleman is special. The next day, Diane came to school with Marcus. They had a large bouquet of flowers in their hands. Miss Coleman, Marcus said, Mom told me the truth. Sarah knelt down, looking into Marcus's eyes. And what do you think? I'm sorry for lying to you. You didn't lie, Marcus. You just didn't share your family's private situation. That's normal. But when you bought the books, I bought those books for you because I love you. Whether you have money or not doesn't change that. Marcus hugged Sarah. Diane approached. Miss Coleman, I formally apologize to you, and my offer still stands. Sarah smiled. I accept, but I have one condition. What is it? Marcus will remain a normal student. He won't receive special treatment. Agreed? 6 months later, Pine Valley Elementary had become unrecognizable. New library, computer lab, art workshop. Sarah was both teaching and managing Morrison Industries education projects. Marcus now had real friends. Children who knew he had money also loved him for his personality, not for money. Diane had also changed. Now her company had more social responsibility projects. They had established the Coleman Education Scholarship. Miss Coleman, Marcus said one day, do you remember the day you gave me those books? Of course. Why? After that day, I started loving reading even more, and Mom started loving you more too. Sarah laughed. I love your mom very much too, Marcus. A year later, Sarah gave a speech at Morrison Industries' annual Education Awards ceremony. Last year, I bought books for a child. With my last money, I later learned that child had money, but it didn't change anything. Everyone in the hall listened carefully, because the value of teaching isn't measured by money. The sparkle in a child's eyes, the happiness they feel when they learn, these are our real rewards. Marcus and Diane sat in the front row, both smiling proudly. And I learned that, Sarah continued, real wealth is in the heart. Money is just a tool, but love, trust, sacrifice, these are the real values. That night when Sarah returned home, she no longer lived in that old small apartment. She lived in the beautiful house provided by Morrison Industries. But the most important change wasn't her financial situation. The most important change was knowing she had touched a child's life, and that touch had changed her own life forever. This story teaches us, real value isn't in money, but in character. A teacher's sacrifice can be more valuable than $1 million donation, because what really matters is giving from the heart. That day, Sarah didn't just give books. She gave her love, her time, her hope. And in return, she didn't just receive money, she gained a new family. If this story moves something in you too, remember, don't forget the teachers in your life, those who add value to you. And when you have the opportunity, try to touch someone else's life, because real wealth multiplies when shared.